She said, I want a binder. She was 12. She doesn't even have boobs to bind.
Hey everyone, I caught myself another one. This one is actually going to be really awesome. I'm super excited to talk to her. So before we move forward, thanks again for watching, liking, subscribing, hitting that bell thing and getting notifications. You're helping this channel grow and it means a lot to me. That's why I get these awesome guests. So I have this human named Kitty. Kitty's going to introduce herself and then we'll move forward with the interview. Hi Kitty, thanks for joining me.
Hello, hi Buck. My name is Kitty, and if you see it's Kitty and Lou, it's because my little service Yorkie is always here with me.
Right on.
So if you see
Excellent.
something moving in the background, it's not demons, it's just her.
Well, I'm going to say if you see a background here, those are demons. Right
So
on.
anyway, yeah, I'm a mom of 3 teenagers. My twins are 14, so right at that I love you, I hate you kind of stage. And then my youngest is 12 and she's starting to get the hormone thing. So she also struggles with bipolar. So the best way I can describe that in a nutshell is it doesn't matter if she stubs her toe or finds out I have cancer, the reaction is the same. The world is ending. It's horrible. We're never going to make it through this. This is awful. But then on the same spectrum, you've got she could find her gum that she's been her chapstick that she lost, or we could win the lottery and the reaction's the same. It's just exciting and everybody's so stoked, right? So
Right.
navigating that and dealing with just the social contagion of trying to they make it look like a nice warm bed and you can come hang out with us and it's just going to be a sleepover, and that's how it starts, right? So in 2020 we were all locked down, everything else, the kids had TikTok, it was big. My kids were in the perfect age range for indoctrination because their body's starting to change. Mom's cool and she lets us do this, but if mom really loved me, then I could change my gender and she would, it could, but like I said, it starts out, hey, come hang out with us. It's fun. Don't worry, we've got candy, we've got cookies. Oh, and dye your hair because that's punk rock. Oh, you want to hang out with us still? What I'm going to need, this is okay. So like I said, made it seem like a nice warm bed. 6 months in, my daughter asked me for my credit card. Mind you, I have raised my kids alone from birth until now.
Okay.
I have taught them love hearts, not parts. Just
Excellent.
what I have instilled in them, because if they're not a good person, it doesn't matter what parts they have, right? And I never
Yep.
wanted to push an agenda on my kids. So they will naturally seek who they want to seek if they know mom doesn't care, as long as they're a good person, right? So,
Yeah.
like I said, they made it seem real soft and cozy. Come hang out. It's just a movie night, guys. Oh, we're just going to have a book reading, guys. So 6 months into COVID lockdown, my daughter asked me for her credit card. And I said, for what? And she said, I want to order something on Amazon. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just order it for you with my account. She said, no, I need it. And I said, okay.
Is that the 12-year-old or the 14-year-old?
That's the 14-year-old twin, one of the twins. And subsequently, one of my twins has come out. She's gay. I knew from the moment she left the womb, she's just my lovely little lesbian. That's who she is. And never judged for it. All my kids are loved equally. So the other twin, the whole thing with the credit card, following these groups of girls, she said, I want a binder. She was 12. She doesn't even have boobs to bind. She's built, both my twins are built like Mary Kate and Ashley. They're super skinny, little bean poles. one of them is more shapely than the other, but they don't have, there's no need for a training bra or a binder because there ain't nothing to train.
Right.
They're just babies. So
Mhm.
I said, why would you want to do that? And she said, oh, well, all the girls are doing it, and I'm thinking about being non-binary. I said, okay, well, first off, we're not changing your body. If I won't let you use a tampon, I am not going to let you use a binder. So that's what we're
Right.
not going to do, first off. I said, why don't you like being a girl? She said, I love being a girl. Mind you, again, how I've raised my kids, we go camping, we go fishing. They've ridden a dirt bike since they were 2 years old. They ride horses. They know how to start a fire from scratch. My kids are the most rough and tumble. They're not quite. They like to get foo-foo sometimes, but they're tomboys that like to dress up.
Mhm.
So they're even on both spectrums of gender. They're not pushed to wear foo-foo dresses, and they're not pushed to play with Tonka toys. They just
Right.
are across the whole thing because I never put gender to items. I just
Right.
never did.
Right.
So 6 months in, she asked me for the binder, and I noticed she's been hanging around Carl. Carl has green hair.
Mhm.
Carl, if you looked at Carl, Carl's a Carlita. She does
No.
not look like a Carl, but she's trans, femme, mass, non-binary, pansexual, A B C D E F G. She's got all
Right.
of them. And so summer is about to hit. We're
Mhm.
about to go into summer. My daughter has been away from this girl for 2 weeks. All of that shed in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that's all it took.
Wow.
We went camping, went and visited family, and all of a sudden, there's no more talk of this, that, and the other. None at all. No conversation about it at all. And all it took was 2 weeks.
Mhm. That's right. Yeah. I
So
mean, we all know this, right? It's so obvious what's going. How old was Carl? Same age?
same age, 12, 13.
I'm just blown away that 12 and 13-year-olds are knowing this stuff, or even like saying this stuff, or even talking. It's so obviously, I mean, do we call this indoctrination if it's a 12-year-old indoctrinating a 12-year-old? But it's
Well, the
it's
problem
something.
is Carl had older friends and an older sibling.
There you go. There you go. There you
That's
go.
the problem. You know that pervy guy that's always kind of hanging out? That person
Yep.
was there for Carl when Carl's parents weren't there for Carl.
Ew. How old was that person? Like 15
40s.
or
Uh, yeah.
like
Late
a
30s,
like a
early 40s.
man, like a
Yeah, a grown man.
adult,
A
a
grown man.
grown man grooming. Totally grooming. This is
So,
how they're
I
getting
mean,
away with it. They're getting away with these groomers are getting away with it because it's part of this whole new system and people are okay with what is happening.
and the biggest
What?
problem, how I can transition into our next topic
Yeah.
regarding this,
Yeah.
is the schools are allowing it. And not only are they allowing it, they're encouraging it. Let me tell you.
Okay, great.
So, not going to go into my divorce or anything like that, but every three to
Okay.
five business years, my ex-husband likes to try to take custody from me. I think
Oh
it's just a
gosh.
hobby for him.
I'm sorry.
But he every 3 to 5 years he tries to screw with me, falsely calls CPS, all this stuff, right? So
Wow.
lady comes, she sees your kids are perfect, they're healthy, they're fit, there's food, and everything's good.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this lady then goes to the school behind my back, did not inform me, pulled my child out of class and talked to her.
What?
Okay?
Like is that CPS? Is that a CPS
Yeah.
person?
Which is fine because I don't have anything to hide at all. But if
That's
my
right.
daughter got nervous, and as I'll get to the story where she ended up,
Mhm.
um, they lead these kids into things, right? So I
Yeah.
go to school and I'm talking to the school, letting them know, everything's whatever, and getting a note from the teachers that my child's not doing bad in school or whatever, right? And they said, oh, we'll call Ash up to the office. Who's Ash?
Oh
Oh, oh, uh, and you could see the lady's face get red because this was a non-binary name
my.
that Madison, my child, gave the school and said was her preferred name.
Wow. Wow.
So not only this, and that she was non-binary.
Wow.
So not only did the school not tell me that my child was non-binary, not only did they tell me that she's trying to identify to fit in with these new purple-haired kids, blue-haired kids,
Yep.
they had her by a whole different name that I had no idea. Imagine, Buck, if something happened while they were in school and I'm looking for Madison.
That's right.
There is no Madison
Right.
here, according to the
That's right.
school.
Holy
There's
crap.
an Ash there. I don't know her as Ash. She doesn't know her
What?
as Ash. But the
Wow.
school just behind my back. So another thing with the school
Disgusting.
is they brought Madison in, and because of the, her dad and I have always been separated, so they've never known us together. They've just known mom and then dad
Okay.
occasionally.
Yeah.
So the school counselor starts talking, and she tells Madison, "Well, are you sad? She's a freaking teenager. Pick the hour. You can talk to her in 15 minutes and she's stoked. You can talk to her in another 15 minutes and she's going
Yeah.
to burn the world down. Like, you know what I mean? They're teenagers. Of
Totally.
course she's sad,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Stupid. So she
Damn.
said, "Well, would you ever act on anything you're sad about?" This is the counselor feeding her.
Wow.
She said, "Well, no, not really." And then the counselor says, "Well, if you were going to hurt yourself, how would you do it?"
What?
So she's like, "I don't know, knife." Well, where are the knives, Madison?
What?
She's like, "In the kitchen." So not only did she pull this whole identity crap is being hid behind my back. And then when I
Right.
talked to Madison and the counselor, they had to state how the conversation went. And even on her inventory of what happened, what kid am I talking to, et cetera, et cetera. Even on her
Yeah.
paper showed how she was leading Madison in to suicidal thoughts and how to do it, where to do it, when to do it. My kid never had a thought of suicide before you put it there. Why would you
Wow.
do that? So we get this whole thing, and I'm a mom that I'm not a Karen mom. I don't complain, but if you f with my kids, oh, uh-uh.
Yep. That's right.
I'll stand in front of a train and stop it for him.
That's right.
We're not doing that. So,
Fucking.
because of all this that went on, I had to then take Madison to a mental health facility and around those like people that are truly struggling, and I had to have a mental health facility nurse sign off that she wasn't going to hurt herself because of what happened with that counselor.
This is insanity. But how old is this counselor? Do you know? Do you have any?
Young, late
Young.
20s, 30s.
Yep. That demographic right there. Probably non binary or part of that whole new therapy nonsense.
And you'll be happy to know she doesn't teach there anymore.
Thank God. Thank God. Are you in? Can I ask what state you're in?
I'm close to you. I'm in Simi Valley area.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sounds so
All this
California.
happened in
Yeah.
Covina.
Oh
San
my
Dimas,
God.
West Covina, that area.
Yep. Yep.
All this
Yep. Very
happened there,
familiar.
and I got fed up with it, and we moved out towards Ventura, and it's
Yep.
night and day. It's
That's
night and
right. You're
day.
right. It is.
LA
I know that.
County is Awful.
Sick. They're sick.
Awful.
Yeah, it's gonna stop though. I think people are starting to catch on like you,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
why thank you.
the
Mhm.
problem is, Buck, we can't catch on because we don't fucking know.
I
They're not
know.
telling us. I didn't know my kid had another name. I didn't know my kid was being led into suicidal thoughts. I
Wow.
didn't know any of that. And me and my kids
Wow.
have an open relationship. They know that the only way I'm going to be mad is if you lie. Just tell me
Yeah.
the truth. I'll accept it. We get through it. I've told them, you smoke or you drink or you do something, you call me to come get
Mhm.
you. You're not going to get in trouble. If I find out that you drove home or you
Mhm.
allowed yourself in that position and something, a boy touched you,
Right.
there's so
Right.
much. So I'm very open because I have 3 girls. I'm very
Mhm.
open with them that you're not going to be in trouble until you lie. The minute you lie, then you're
Good.
screwed. But with
Excellent.
the school lying to me about my own children, and they're
It.
encouraging the
Mhm.
privateness of it all. I don't know how to the
Yeah. Secretive. It's secretive.
And
I
of
don't.
course,
What?
a teenager wants somebody to keep their secret. Are you
That's
crazy?
right.
Are you
That's right.
crazy?
It's
Like I
so
said, they
crazy.
make the bed, they make it seem like, but once they've got you in the room, the babies don't notice the door's locked behind them. They can't get out as easy. It's like, then they go into this indoctrination and then they start ruining their body. I was 23, divorced, 2 toddlers, and an infant, and I asked for my tubes to be tied, and they
Mhm.
told me no. I had
I
three
know.
kids.
I know.
They told
I
me
know.
no. But
It's
my daughter, who saw the counselor, said we could get her tits cut off in 6 months. She didn't even
it,
have tits to cut off.
I know. That's why. Why is she even wearing a binder?
Well, she
What?
didn't. She never got the binder. I didn't allow her to.
Yeah, but
She
she
never.
wanted one.
Yeah,
You see,
she
it's
wanted
part of
one.
this whole. It's part of the whole indoctrination. I'm 32 years transition. Back in the day, we didn't even have binders, but binders are always made for people who have a chest, so that
Mhm.
you don't. That was specifically what a binder is for. It's not. Nobody wants to wear a binder. It's so
No,
uncomfortable. But now
and
these
it
kids want
hurts.
to. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's horrifying. But these kids want the binder. That's what I'm. It's so obvious. First off, thanks, Kitty. I do appreciate you so much being here and really putting this out. Many people are going to see this, and this is such an important thing that you are saying, because many parents are in this position but not able to have this conversation. So
yeah,
thank you, thank you. Before I move
of
on, thank
course.
you. It means a
And
lot to
then
me.
so now she's in junior high. She was in sixth, seventh grade
Okay.
when all that binder
Yeah.
junk happened. We
Oh
moved her
God.
schools and she's back to her normal self. Now the problem at the other school, this is one of her friends
Okay.
goes to this school. There's a little boy and he's gay, which
Okay.
is fine. Who cares?
Oh yeah.
I'm a B. I'm not an L, but I'm a B. So
Okay.
I'm
Right.
very accepting, and like I said, taught my kids from day one, love hearts, not parts. I am
Yeah.
not against any. We all bleed. That's how it goes.
That's
We're
right.
all we're
Right.
all red on the inside, right?
Mhm.
So this little gay boy was given permission to play. I'm trying to think of the order here. So he was
Okay.
given permission to use the girls' bathroom, which,
Oh, so he's
whatever, I don't like
transitioning to
it,
be a
but
girl.
whatever. But then he was allowed to start playing on the girls' teams
So
during
he's not
PE,
gay. He's
during after
identifying as
school. Oh, he's very very flamboyant. I have no doubt in my mind that he's gay. But now he's claiming to be trans, but it's on secret. Only the friend group knows this, right?
Mhm.
Well, here comes the problem. Because
Mhm.
he's been able to use the girls' bathroom, because he's been able to play on the girls' team,
Mhm.
he got in trouble twice already for beating the ever-loving hell out of 2 girls that pissed him off while they were playing.
Oh God. What grade is this? Seventh?
Eighth.
Eighth? What? What?
And I'm
This is
sorry, that's the
sick.
testosterone. That's the reason
Duh.
we separate the girls and the boys. It's fine if he wants to hang out with the girls and the girls are more accepting, or he's worried about getting beat up. But then what you're
Totally.
not in this book, this is literally the whole, what do you call that? The playwright, right? This is the whole thing, just
Yeah.
in baby version. They go
Yeah.
with, like, just like the trans men out
Yeah.
here, women, whatever, the trans
Mm,
women out here, they, who's the first to accept a trans person? A
mhm,
woman. Because
mhm,
we're loving, we're compassionate, we're
right.
considerate, we're nurturing. So then we open our doors politely and openly, and
Mhm.
then once they get in, they want to run the roost, rule the kingdom, or they start picking on the women to try to take over it. It's like, don't you remember who had your back first?
That's right.
Now you want to erase womanhood? Well, I've got news for you. Go try that with the boys. Go try that with the men. Let's see how
That's
that
right.
turns out for you. Go try to take their space.
That's right.
It wouldn't happen.
Well,
It
that's why it's
wouldn't
not.
happen.
That's
Not
right.
at all.
Nope. Wow, this is shocking. He beat up two girls at school.
Yep. Which I
This is
don't know how he got
sick.
to the second one, because he should have been gone after the first one.
That's right.
Because he didn't
But
just like hit them, he beat the tar out of them. He hurt them.
he should be expelled. That's because he's trans. He's
They
getting
didn't
special
want to
treatment.
expel him because they don't want that political BS on
There
their
you go.
back.
There
Had
you
it
go.
been any other little boy, he would have been gone. But
That's
because
right.
he's part of a protected race now, right? That's what we're calling it, protected category. They
Ah,
won't do anything. And my daughter even told me that she overheard I don't know if it was the assistant principal or the principal saying, "Well, he's gay. We're not touching that."
oh my God. Well, I don't blame them because you're right. They're going to get nailed if they say
Hmm?
anything with that. You see what they've
Yep.
done now? They've made it into a situation where
Yep.
we can't even touch them.
And what do we do? Buck, what do I do?
I know. I don't
Because then if
even
I try
know.
to do anything, and obviously it'll go viral because I'm complaining against LGBT technically, right? Even though
Yeah,
it's this other category of insanity. It's going to
that's
go
right.
viral. I'll be a Karen. Everybody's jumping on me, and you're bigoted, and
That's
you're
right.
transphobic, and you're this, and
Yep.
you're that. My trans friends don't think I'm transphobic. My trans friends have stronger opinions about it than I do. And it's the same
Yeah,
opinion, just they're going for it. And I'm just like, do you?
that's
Don't do
right.
my kids. It's been illegal to do kids any which way you can think about since the beginning of time.
That's right. That's right.
So why is it okay now?
Well, because it's not the same as when we transitioned years ago. Now it's really about transitioning these children. It's some form of control, indoctrination, medicalization. I mean, I could go on and on. You know that. But that
Yeah.
being said, that you're right. That's why this interview is so important because I am a transsexual and I'm an elder in this community, 32 years transition, and none of this should be happening. Kids are not trans. It's not
Mm-mm.
true. They are not trans. They're just going through a period of life, like you just said. That's not true. We're indoctrinating these kids into these weird thought processes and screwing them up. Well, how is your kid? How is your kid now? She's no longer non-binary.
Like it never happened. Like
Yeah,
it
she
never
just got
happened.
out of it.
She wears
Wow.
bikinis, does her little makeups. She, wears to the beach, I'm saying. So there's no body dysmorphia. She's willing to wear a swimsuit. Had the binder really been part of her feeling trans,
Yeah,
you'd never catch that same little girl in a bathing suit, let alone a bikini. That's why I'm
that's right.
speaking this way. But she
That's
doesn't
right.
there's not even a little remnants of it on her anymore. There's nothing. She's
Does
back to
she?
normal.
Does she ever talk about her non-binary space ever?
It's not even a
Wow.
thought anymore. Those friends are gone.
Wow.
It's not even a thought anymore. Now
There you
imagine,
go.
had I gone along with it, she was 12 years old. Imagine how I went along with it, right? And now my daughter's got permanent, because I'm sorry, when your boobs are growing, there's a reason you have a training bra, because you need to support them, lift them, hold them while they're doing their thing, right? Same, you think about a tomato plant. You got to put the little stick in there so it doesn't flop over, right? Well, same thing
Right.
with
Right.
boobs. Got news for you. So
Right.
you got to take care of them. Imagine
Right.
how I had bind my daughter while her breasts were coming in. She would have belly button level boobies now at the age of what, 15? And she's got 90-year-old saggy boobs because I chose to accept her new identification and ruin her body in the process.
Well, not only that, I they are literally giving surgery to 13-year-olds.
That's
I've
what I
seen
mean.
they're literally taking their little boobies. They don't even have boobs off. It's so. What if you would have done that?
That's what I'm
And
saying. And
yeah,
you know what? Some parents, it's like we grew up, I was abused as a kid, and a lot
mhm,
of us were, right? So we're like,
mhm,
well, we just want to be the best mom, and if we go along with it, they're happy. No, they're
that's right.
happy right now, right?
Yeah,
Just like if
that's
you
right.
take away their phone, they're not going to be
Yeah,
happy. But you get the phone back,
totally.
they're going to be happy right now. You cannot permanently disable these babies. How think about it this way. How many we'll go to a niche category like niche as trans, right? How
Mhm,
many in a niche category porn star women get
mhm.
their boobs done?
Yeah, that's
How
right.
many of them get them removed? How many of them regret that decision? And they're
That's
full
right.
grown adults showing their full naked bodies. It's another small, little, tiny niche group. And if us adult women can't decide on it, what makes you think a kid that 5 years ago was walking around, talking around like a dinosaur, you know, thought he was a dog on Tuesdays, thought he was a
Yeah,
kitty cat, at lunch and liked
yeah,
to, you know what I mean? How are
yeah.
you going to let a baby that just got out of that stage permanently destroy their body? How are you
It
doing that?
No, you see, there are people who are doing this in the trans community who are indoctrinating people to think that kids know who they are. What? These kids don't even. Everyone's been a kid. You were a kid. I was a kid. I didn't know who I was. Nobody knew, especially trans. There is no way a kid ever would know that. I didn't. I was not a trans kid. I was just a tomboy.
I had
And,
it listed here. So the two things I wrote down a couple things because I have ADD and I could blabber on
okay.
forever.
Okay.
So they keep saying forcing male and female on children, but isn't forcing trans in the same category? Isn't it the same thing? If you're not going to say that this is a dog and this is a cat, but you're saying it's
Totally.
okay to call it a horse, isn't that the same thing?
Oh,
Aren't we
brilliant.
just, drawing straw, grasping at straws now? Isn't it
Yep.
the same? And the
Yep.
other thing that made me sick, I heard it this morning, is the children's. Okay, so the trans community in a whole talking about how they speak.
Mhm.
If you were talking to a child and you didn't want to say vagina, the P word, whatever, you didn't want to use those words, what kind of
Mhm.
word would you use?
Mhm.
Maybe front hole? Is that how you would talk to a baby? Because it's not your back hole, it's your front hole, right?
Okay. I know it's
Isn't
baby
that how to
talk.
talk to a baby about that?
That's right. It's baby talk. You're right. Yeah.
And that's
And
not
now they're
sick? That's not intentional?
that's right. That's exactly right. No, it's sick. It's oh man, the whole thing is blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind that people are going along. The Cancer Society of Canada is now saying it's a front hole. They're not saying you can't call it vagina because that's um what do you call it? Dysphoric for some trans men and non. I'm like, no, it isn't. I've been doing this 32 years. It's a vagina. What? What?
And you know what? I had my girl's very first babysitter was a the opposite. So it was a trans woman and a trans man, and they were dating. That was my
Mhm,
daughter, and this is before. This is
mhm.
15 years ago. This is
Wow.
before any of this was like
Yeah.
that. I accepted them. I brought them into my home. I trusted them
Mhm,
with my children,
mhm.
but never once did the trans woman, right? So the
Yeah,
biological male,
yeah,
he shaved his chest. He
mhm,
shaved his face. He shaved
yeah, of
his
course.
legs. And
That's right.
me and all three of my daughters agree. If you want to masquerade and costume as a woman
Mhm.
and you don't get cramps or bleed every month, the least you can do is shave those burly legs. That's the least you could do. Because
Thank
trust,
you.
what woman have you seen walking around here with a mustache that didn't go to get it waxed right after?
That's
Honey, if we
right.
gotta wax our mustache, you did too. if you want to call yourself a woman. We have to
That's
go
right.
through all the crappy parts about it, and we still welcome you, even though you're
That's
making
right.
a mockery of us. You're
Yes.
laughing in our faces, and we're still giving you a hug, trying to help you.
That's right.
It's like,
Mhm.
do the bare minimum. If you keep going out in public and being called a he, maybe it's you, baby. Maybe it's not everybody else. If
There
you
you
keep
go.
going out in public and keep getting called a she, maybe it's you, babe. Maybe
Hmm.
it's you. If you're not working on your transition, which is the most important thing to you, right?
That's
Put
right.
in the effort.
That's right.
Put in the
That's
effort.
how that's how you can tell the newer trans women who are with beards and
Mm-hmm.
non-binary. They're not trans. They're literally they're fetishizing women or
My
attention
trans
seeking.
girlfriend, she's trans female.
Hmm.
If she's got one little tiny whisker, she's got a
Hmm.
razor in her purse
That's
to
right.
make sure that she don't look male, because that's what she
That's
wants, and that's how she wants to be seen. But walking
yeah.
out here with, you know, your curly chest hairs up to your beard in a dress, who in the hell's kid is doing that, Buck? I swear my
I
grandma
know.
would lose her mind. She'd whoop all these
Yep.
kids. Oh, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's sick. It's actually wrong. And you know what? Whatever. People have their weird the stuff they want to do, then they need to keep it private. But you're right. If they're getting
Exactly.
misgendered, it's because they're not participating in the world. I participate in the world. No one ever misgenders me because I make an effort so that you won't. I mean, that's the whole joke of this whole thing. But the thing for me is this. Okay, those adults, whatever, who cares? I am concerned with these children
Yeah.
being totally put in these positions with the school and that is sick what that counselor did to your
Yeah.
child, leading them into those suicidal thoughts.
Yeah,
And then
my daughter was
what?
never had a
Never.
thought like that. And
Wow.
she incriminated herself. Thank God she's just that delusional that she wrote it
Yeah.
all down. But like, she
Yeah.
led every step of the way. That conversation would have never happened had my child not been preemptively told, well, if you were going to eat a cookie, how would
Yes.
you get one?
That's right.
Go to the store. Well, get a knife in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like, it's a freaking baby. What did you
What?
expect them to say?
Yeah.
Like, you brought this thought into their head, and then you're gonna call me at the last step after you've already hidden from me a whole new name she was going by, a whole new identity she was going by, and now
Wow.
you're no, garbage, garbage, garbage. I moved her schools,
Garbage.
and she was right back to the same little baby that I knew. And if
Because
one
you're
of
a
my kids
smart
were
parent.
legitimately trans, that's fine. That's fine. I would
Yeah,
go
I
along with
feel that.
them. But what I
Yeah.
wouldn't do is start cutting off parts to try to help. It's not what you do.
That's not
That's
what you do. You get them mental health and then you move from there. But you just proved, you are
exactly.
proving that many of us are saying that these kids are being talked into this stuff. You just proved it.
Yep.
And you plucked your child right out of that toxic environment. Great parent you are, by the way. I'm going to give you
Thank you.
huge kudos for that. You're an awesome parent. Being attention. You're very attentive to your children. You plucked your child out and you proved us to the whole world right now that that was pure indoctrination. And
Yep.
what is going on in these California school systems that this would be okay? These queer teachers with trans flags in the classroom and non-binary and don't tell your parents. When
Mm-hmm.
was how and when and why is this okay? No wonder the
Mm-hmm.
Democratic Party is losing its ground because this is all
Yeah.
coming from that space.
Yep. Yep. But they want to distract us with, you know, oh, global warming and the sea turtles, and it's
COVID,
like, dude,
the
we
sea
can't
turtles.
we can't even focus on humans, let alone the turtles. Like, give us a break. Come on. Maybe in a couple year we'll have a few people filling in numbers identifying as sea turtles. Just wait. Just wait.
No, they already are. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
No, and they're puffer fists or whatever. What are those things that change sex? It's so absurd. These are children's brains. They're so malleable. I have a little one here. They're so easy to influence or to twist, and you just proved it with your child. It was completely normal, and the next thing you know, it's like I'm non-binary and I'm suicidal. What?
yeah.
Wow.
It's and then it's you start to think. on your own. I'm a very strong mom and very
Yeah, yeah,
independent, head
yeah,
forward, right?
yeah.
So it's like all of this can break a mom down. Because
I
imagine if they
know.
weren't as strong as me, or if they had a partner, whether
That's
wife
right.
or husband, pushing against
That's
the
right.
other way. My kid could be
That's
half
right.
transitioned right now, half detransitioned right now. Had I
Oh
not
my
been
God.
strong and been like, um, no, we're not doing that. You want to do that? Cool. We're going to
That's
go to
right.
therapy. We're going to get to the bottom of where this thought even came from. And then if we need to further that in the future, then that's what we'll do. I don't have a problem giving my kids nicknames or if they want to be called
Of
whatever.
course.
But what I do
Yeah.
have a problem with is my kids' school doing it behind my back.
Of course. That they don't have authority over your children. That's the scary part. The state is now trying to take control of our children, right? Like they could take
Yeah,
you. Remember, they were trying to pass that law. Thank God it didn't pass, where if you didn't transition your child, that was considered child abuse, and they would actually take your child.
yeah.
That happened to a woman here in California. Her child ended up
And you
committing
know what, Buck? Even
suicide.
though it's not legal, they're still doing it. They're still
Yeah.
doing it. They're hiding
Holy
it from
crap.
the teachers or the counselor.
Wow.
Especially, here's the problem: when you get one of these teachers that has to tell the kids about what goes in and out of their hoo ha. It's
Oh
none of
my
the kids'
God.
business whether you're gay, whether you're lesbian, whether you're. I don't care what you put in
That's
your
right.
butt. It's not for my
That's
kid
right.
to know. I don't
No.
care.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I don't know how to come out to my class of kindergartners because, I'm Polly. Polly, shut the hell up. Don't be telling these kindergartners about what goes in and out your hoo ha. We don't care. And neither do
It's
the
gross.
babies. I didn't even know
That's
what a penis looked
indoctrination.
like till I was 15. And
That's
now
right.
you're
You
telling the
shouldn't.
babies, well, you know, everybody with a penis isn't a man. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
I know.
Stop
I
it.
know.
Knock it
I
off
know.
right now.
Stop it. It's so sick. How dare they do that stuff?
And I
Luckily,
don't
my kid.
seem to be, I don't intend to be like mocking and hating because I'm not. Like I said, I have
No.
friends
No.
from this spectrum to this spectrum.
Yeah.
I love everybody. But what I don't
Yeah.
love is when you're going to take my child and try to mold her in a certain direction and not tell me about it. Because at least if I know, I can fix what you've done wrong. But if I don't know what happened, I cannot fix it. And that will put me flames out my ears. You don't do
Well,
something to my baby that I don't know what you're
those
doing.
are your children. Those are your children. We're not talking about pets or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing is, this also, it what you said earlier, it's pitting parents against each other.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it. The divorces are happening from it. Parents are hating on each other. One parent wants to transition, the other one doesn't.
Mhm.
It's turning families upside down. I
I've
think there's a lot of.
seen
Mhm.
custody get
Yeah,
taken from the father because the mother was willing to transition the child
that's
and
right.
the father wasn't. And the judge is
That's
so
right.
freaking scared of being politically incorrect that
That's right.
the mentally ill mother that's going on with this or the mentally ill father that's going along with this gets custody and that kid ends
That's
up
right.
detransitioning because they weren't with the right parent in what,
That's right.
a year or two.
That's
They're
right. No
babies,
boobs.
leave them
Yeah,
alone.
15. No, I know. I'm friends with many detransitioned young girls,
Yeah.
and they don't have boobs. And one of my friends, she's suing Kaiser for the fact that she was 13 when they put her on puberty blockers, and 15 when she got her boobs cut off.
And
What? What world?
in newsflash for everybody, they're not puberty pausers.
That's right.
They
That's
are
right.
puberty skippers.
Skippers.
They
No, you're
skip
right.
your whole puberty and then
Puberty.
how's it? It's not right. A
Nope.
tadpole goes through stages to become a
Yep.
frog. You can't just hold a tadpole and give it a shot and expect it not to turn to a toad.
That's right.
Like you got to
That's right.
stop with this. Like stop trying
It's
to medicalize these children. You're
it's
signing them
experiment.
up for being connected to a needle or a medication bag for the rest of their life. You're
Excellent.
making that decision for your baby. Why would
I
you
know.
do that? Let them
Because
make
they're
that
being
decision
told.
after therapy and after they are of age.
because the parents are being told if they don't do it, the child will off themselves. It's all manipulative. And as a parent, if you're all of a sudden being told if you don't do this, your child will kill themselves. You're like, what? So they're manipulating parents into thinking it's the thing they have to do when it's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. But what do you think the ultimate goal of this is to medicalize so that the big pharma, I mean, I'm putting words in your mouth. What do you think?
I deal with chronic pain, so I am unfortunately the other gal that you had on previously. I identified with her very much because
Yeah,
I have two chronic illnesses. I have lupus and
sorry.
rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh no,
So,
I'm
and I'm a
sorry.
little bit chubbier right now because of the
Yeah,
lupus. Your
yeah,
body just holds on to water, and
yep,
you got to come back down that little mountain before you. So
yeah,
anyhow, I'm a lifelong big pharma,
yeah.
unfortunately. I am.
Unfortunately,
It's the reality. And I
yeah.
know how how difficult it is and the panic that sets in when the pharmacy forgot to order your meds, or the pharmacy is out of them, or
Oh,
there's an issue going on with importing certain medications,
hmm.
or the price hike of a
Hmm.
certain medication. Why would you ever do that to your baby? Why would you
I
ever?
don't know.
Unless it's like you're an adult, you went through therapy,
Yeah,
you did it, and you knew what you were getting into. The biggest
that's
problem
right.
is, let's take the parent out of it. The baby
Yeah,
is not being told, the teenager, the 18-year-old, even the 20 something year olds aren't being told you're going to be connected to this needle for the rest of your
they don't get
life.
it. They
They're
don't
not being
understand that.
told that
Or
at
they
all.
don't even they have no idea what that even means, and they're willing, when you're 20, you're like, "Ah, it's fine, I'll just, do that." They
Yeah,
don't even have a clue what that means even if they are being told that. They don't understand the long-term health things that have happened to me.
yeah.
32 years of testosterone. I'm a female, right? So I have 32 years of a substance that is this level in my body has caused havoc, but they're not, but I as again 30-year-old that I started at 30,
Yeah.
I know what I'm getting myself into. A 12-year-old,
Well,
you think?
even still though, Buck, back when you transitioned, they didn't have as much information
No,
that we have now.
no,
And the
that's
problem
right.
is with this plethora of information, it's being suppressed so that
That's
they cash those checks. Because
You're
if they
right.
don't tell you that your uterus is going to dry up and fall the
Yep,
fuck out if you don't deal
that's
with it,
right.
they're not
That's right.
telling little girls that. They're also not
Nope,
telling little girls that your bones become brittle. They're also not
that's
telling little girls that when your voice changes, you will never get that female voice
never,
back. You will
never.
never, ever,
That's
ever.
right.
They're not telling little
So
girls that.
gross.
The
No.
female to male cutting off your genitalia, they're not telling them it's a wound. They're saying like
Yeah.
it's this new, what did that freaking idiot Dylan say?
Ew.
It's an
Barbie
exotic
pocket.
curse. Why would you see one? I'm like,
My God. It's comical. It's sick. Yeah, it is. I interviewed a young girl, a young boy who became a girl, right, at 13, and she got surgery at 17. And because she was put on puberty blockers, they had to take her, what does it call, her colon, and make her colon into the vagina, which became a total nightmare. She's totally, she can't have sex. The whole thing is just a nightmare. And they did that to a 17-year-old.
it's so
Unbelievable.
crazy. And
Unbelievable.
you know
It's
what?
crazy.
I don't know what the end of this is going to be.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I
Yes.
don't know what the first, or even at this point last domino is going to be that's going to
Yes.
stop all this. I don't want to erase trans people. That's not what I want. What I want
No.
is for the true trans people to get their life, but that's it. Trans people, not trans teens, not
No.
trans kids, not trans infants, not
Yep.
trans kindergartners.
Infants. Infants. What? Yeah. It's going to end. It's just going to end with a lot of people hurt. That's what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
And
Just all
I
these young
have to
kids.
say this. I know my brain is like a, what do you call that, pinball machine. but I have to say this because I have not seen any woman say this. Stop using us not being able to reproduce naturally as your excuse.
Great.
We're not your well, some women don't have babies, can't
Yeah,
have babies. I'm not your excuse.
that's right.
Seek
Great.
mental help.
That's
Stop
right.
you just like the intersex people that are like, stop saying assign gender, at birth. Stop using us as your excuse.
That's
I'm
right.
not your excuse.
That's
Stop
right.
it.
It's mental illness. It's total mental illness. I always say that. I
It
have a disorder. I have a mental disorder. It's not normal. This isn't normal for me to want to be like this. And I'm very aware of that. But it's why I'm okay with it, right? Because I've
Yeah.
accepted that. But we're telling these people that they're not mentally, ill. And it is a mental illness. It's here, it's in the brain. So you just proved to us all today that a child can be manipulated into thinking they are trans or non-binary, want to go through this whole situation. If let's just say, God, it didn't happen, thank God, your child just never would have been kept, you weren't the parent you are, and your child just kept going. Who knows what your child would be today? Maybe with no boobs, disconnected from you, hating you,
yeah.
non-binary, trans. Like, could be so many bad things that could have happened. Wow.
And you know what? My kids, like, so my kids are the kind of kids, if there's an older lady in front of us, they won't even ask her. They'll help move her items to the conveyor belt. They'll help her put them in
Wow.
the car. They don't have to be asked. They're
Beautiful.
very strong and sweet kids. They're not
Beautiful.
easily manipulated. So to take
Yeah.
a child who is raised by a strong mom and to be able to manipulate that smart,
Yep.
straight A student child,
Yes.
what happens for these autistic, these BPD, these other babies that are already down? I'm not saying like on a social level, I'm saying
Yeah.
mentally they're already more vulnerable. They just swoop in and pick them up. It's like shooting
That's
fish in a
right.
barrel. It's
No, you're
awful.
right.
Like, what do we do?
Right.
What do we
You're
do?
I don't know. The autistic kids are being sucked into it like mad. Because they're very vulnerable and they're easily influenced. That's why they target that. They're saying autistic kids are trans. It's like what? They're equating the two now. What? No.
I've noticed the DID, the autistic, and
Yeah. Yeah.
BPD. I've noticed those
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
vulnerable categories that
That's right.
they see an easy lick,
Right.
and then they hop on that baby and try to convince that baby of its otherwise obvious parts and stuff, like. And well,
Wow.
don't tell your mom because she's gonna get mad. Don't tell your dad, and we can be friends. It can be just us. And you know what,
Ugh,
Buck? 90% of the time, there's one young adult pervert in that group. There's
that's right.
one like cool mom that's helping you shoot testosterone, or you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? There's
of
always
course.
one freak that's
Yeah.
trying to destroy these kids, thinking, I mean, I don't know if it's like a Munchausen thing
It
where they
is.
need the attention they never got. And now that
Yeah.
if their kid's trans, then they get to talk to everybody about how their kid's trans. Like,
Totally.
and why are we not
Totally.
getting these parents in trouble? Why are
Well,
we not?
because trans is a protected class now. You see what they did? So you're right. I do believe it's Munchausen, and I also believe they're freaks. And now they're basically what we used to call, right, the
Yeah,
maps. They're
yeah.
these weirdos who are like to be around kids. It's a sexualized space. There's no doubt about it in my mind. So we've just opened the door for these pedos to take these kids and pretend like they're trans. It's totally what's happening
And I
under the
don't
guise of
understand
trans.
why we're not talking more openly. Like, it's
Me
okay to
neither.
be a cross dresser. It's
Of
okay to be
course.
AGP. But these
Of
men,
course.
like, well, if they find out I'm AGP, they're not gonna, undress in
That's
front
right.
of me. If you know what I mean. So it's like it's
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
this like they enjoy being left out because then they can sneak in
Yes.
further. We
Great.
we need to talk,
No, we
leave
do.
kink behind the bedroom and bring
Yeah.
forward mental therapy, talk
Thank
therapy,
you.
group therapy.
Thank
We
you.
need to bring
Thank
that
you.
forward and push kink back behind the door. Because again, with
Thank
the
you.
kindergarten teacher teaching them what parts and what gender and sexuality, that's again teach the kindergartners about the alphabet and colors. I'm not paying you via my taxes to tell my kindergartner what you do with your penis. That's your
Well,
business,
that's the
not my
gross people
baby's.
running. That's our gross governor and our gross mayors and all these people. They're all part of the whole disgusting, gross
And right
space.
now they've got it because if anybody gets them in trouble, then it's a
That's
hate
right.
crime and they can sue for all the money in the world so they can sit at home
That's
on TikTok and now they've got the money
right.
to indoctrinate people for free.
Wow, it's shocking that we are here in 2024. What? We've literally opened the door for these people to just do this to our children.
And
So
I feel awful for the other true letters, the L, the G,
yeah,
the V, the T.
I know.
I feel so bad for them
We're
because it's
screwed.
like the clowns are out doing the clown show, but when they go home to the same home that the LGBT go to,
That's
and it's
right.
like we don't you're not our tribe. And so all but the people that
No,
are not like you and I that live and breathe and talk about this and protest this, the people like Christian families or people that don't,
that's right.
aren't around too many LGBT, they just see the nonsense going on and think it's the whole group when it's really
That's right.
the fringe of the fringe of the fringe that happen to have a phone they could talk on the internet to, you know what I
Thank
mean?
you for
So it's
saying
giving
that. No,
everybody a
thank you.
bad name when it's like we don't know her. She doesn't go here.
That's right. But I get nailed all the time because I'm supposedly part of the whole thing. I'm like, 32 years ago I did this. What are you talking about? I'm not part of that nonsense. But you're right. We all get lumped into it now because
Yeah.
they all think we're weirdos like these
It
freaks.
makes me sick.
It's so sad, but you're an amazing mom. I'm telling you, I just want to give you a big hug
Thank
because
you.
you're just an awesome mom. I love your energy. I love your like chutzpah to like just no, I'm not gonna let this happen to my kids. I
Mhm.
think more parents are gonna love you, and I
I
love
hope
you, and I think
so.
you're an awesome human being, and I think your children are very lucky to have you. And I think
Thank you.
more parents are gonna start standing up because you're speaking out. That's how it works. One person speaks out, then they feel encouraged to speak out. And I think that's really why I feel so lucky to have this channel and be able to bring people like you who reach out to me, which just says a lot to
Yeah.
me about you.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to end. But I just want to say to you, do you have anything that you might want to say out to anybody? I mean, you said things that are so powerful to me, but if you want to just leave us with something.
I would say be the comfort to your kids that their friends and their
Mm,
possible enemies are offering. Offer your kids that comfort so they're not seeking it other places. I'm not a perfect mom by any means, but you know what? I stop at least, I should do it every day, but at least once a week and ask the kids your rose and your thorn. What was the rose of the week? What was your thorn of the
mm,
week? Be with your kids because if you're not, somebody else will. And you don't get to decide who that somebody else is a lot of
wow.
the times. So be that for your kids. And if you don't have kids, be that for your niece, be that for your neighbor, be that
Yeah.
for your nephew, be it for the kids because I promise you the other opportunities and the people that want to take your kids, this is what it's ended up. We're looking at the results of that.
Wow. That's excellent. Excellent. Beautiful. Amazing. And that's what people need to hear. You're right. That's how they get in. That's how they get the kids because they're
Yeah.
seeking something. You're totally right. So thanks so much, Kitty. I totally appreciate you. Super big love to you. Thanks everybody for watching. Join me Wednesday on the live. Like this, send it to someone who needs to hear it because this is how we're going to really make headway and save these kids from being indoctrinated. And so with that, I'll see you guys all on Wednesday. And thanks so much.